guys, this is Tina here, and I'm here with my son Noah today because it's pasta night. Kids are eating this, and hubby, but both of us can't eat this, so we have to make our own. And since I've never made it before, he's gonna show me how, and he's gonna show you how to. So in our household, we make lots of gluten-free things that are out of one ingredient. And we just put one ingredient of this, one ingredient of this, and put it together. They're called one ingredient foods. I heard it on another channel who isn't gluten-free, and I really like that because this recipe has only 4 ingredients: salt, eggs, almond flour, and tapioca starch. That's it. It's super simple. I've never made it, but I've tasted it lots of times, so I'm gonna let Noah show you how to do this.
We have 1 cup of almond flour, and then 1 cup of tapioca. You can do this in ratios. It's 1:1 tapioca, 1:1 almond flour. And then
just pinch of salt. There you go.
And then get this as thoroughly consistent as you can. If the tapioca starch isn't mixed well with the almond flour, you end up with just a cake of it on the bottom of the bowl that you then have to scratch out, and it's a pain.
Simple,
so that's
simple.
Probably good. It should be loose and no lumps in the almond flour. 1 whole egg goes in, just the way it is. No shells. And then separate out 4 egg yolks.
And now we don't waste the egg yolks, the egg whites. We'll just throw those into bread or scrambled eggs or whatever. We're a large family, we never waste anything. Bit of backstory. So Noah and I both were very, very sick in the fall of 2008 and found out that we cannot do gluten at all. And over time, we actually found out that we can't do a lot of other things. I found out I can't do dairy. What can't you do? Coconut?
Coconut, corn, rice. That's about it.
And
avocado.
Oh yeah.
It's really weird.
Yeah. So over time, we found that there were certain foods that we couldn't eat, and so because like the other kids can eat the rice pasta, no problem. They can do the cheese and all that kind of stuff. They can do dairy, and we both can't. I didn't really care if I could do pasta. I've lived without it for a really long time, but this guy here really likes pasta, so he's just separating out the last egg. Yeah, so you really wanted to do pasta.
Yes.
It's a guy thing, I think.
So at this point, you just want to mix the egg yolks and the 1 whole egg until you get a consistent lump of dough. It's not easy to do with the fork all the way, so at some point I will switch to just using my hands. And you want to work absolutely all of the dry flour into the eggs.
So why is it important to get all of that worked in?
So you don't waste it. And so that the consistency is correct.
Okay. So it's normal if you're trying to mix this and it looks like it's not going to work in.
Yeah, so.
So you're just going to dust that a little bit with tapioca starch.
Too much probably, but anyway. That there, all the rest of it.
One thing I wanted to mention is like when you have kids who have celiac or gluten intolerance, it's really important that they learn how to cook. And this was really important for us. That's why we spent a lot of time teaching the kids how to cook. And now that Noah's all grown up, he knows how to cook, and his tastes are different than mine. He wants to eat different foods than I do and that are important to him. And that's a good thing though. That's a nice dough.
I think it's pretty much done. It's still not 100% smooth. You can still feel the individual bits of ground almond in it.
Okay, so you watched some tutorials on YouTube because you weren't happy with what?
Consistency, and I wasn't able to get it rolled out thin enough. The first batch I made, the noodles were really thick, and that is okay. I just made them hard to eat because they're slippery as heck.
Okay, so over time you've perfected this, so don't skip this. If you're gonna make this pasta, don't skip
No, the
this.
next step is the most important. However you mix it, if you want to mix it with a fork, with a spoon, with a blender, not a blender.
Food processor.
Food processor.
That doesn't matter.
And if you want to knead it with your hands, also doesn't matter, but the rolling out is important. So at this point, the dough is actually more like a marzipan in consistency. I break it in half. Try not to drop all the crumbs. You can pick that up later anyway. And the other half goes back in the bowl. Okay, so now I've flour dusted the marble cutting board. I don't like the wooden ones. The dough sticks in the grain.
Okay.
Even the plastic ones, they're textured. This works best. And then
And this was a really inexpensive one from Home Sense.
so at the beginning,
Yeah.
the dough is really kind of rippy, like that. I don't know if you can see that, where you hold it and it just slowly
No.
rips.
Okay.
So what you want to do is you want to roll it flat, and then you want to fold it down again. And then you want to fold it in again.
So this is what you learned from the nonas in the tutorials
wasn't
you
a
watched.
nonna, but
It wasn't a
yes.
nona? Okay, it was an Italian.
It was an Italian set of hands. It was a voiceover in hands. I don't-
Okay.
I'm assuming it was a man, but that doesn't mean anything.
Okay.
So then as you do this over and over again, the consistency of the dough will improve. You might need more flour at some point just to keep everything from sticking. It is still a little bit stickier than I would expect a regular dough to be. Like a gluten-based dough. You can hold it and it keeps together.
Okay. Oh wow, yeah. Great.
Just gonna-
And how long do you do this for? Because
I don't know how
What's
long
the
you're
magic?
supposed to do it, if there's a magic number of times. I do it until I can start getting it thin without it ripping.
so that's the meter then. Thin without tearing. And this doesn't require any really fancy stuff at all.
No, we're gonna hand cut these.
Now, at what point would you put it through a noodle press if you had one?
At the same point, I'd be ready to cut it. When you can get it thin, you can pick it up.
Okay, that's still pretty thick.
Yeah, but before it was completely ripping under its own weight. I think this is basically ready now. So now at this point, I'm just gonna fold it over one more time. And then I'm gonna roll it out till it fills up as much of this board as I can get it. Just flipping it, turning it. It is a hard dough. Like, it's not soft and squishy. It is pretty stiff.
But yeah, I remember you telling me earlier that you fold it and roll it, fold it and roll it, and that makes it more pliable, more
It does
stretchy.
make it more pliable, yes. You can get it way thinner. Like right now, I can still pick this up. Right now I'm just trying to get it even. Oops. I get covered in flour every time I cook. I think that's probably as thin as I want it. It's almost see-through.
Wow. That's amazing.
I cut the ragged edges off. Turn them into more noodles later on anyway. And then, okay,
So now you're just gonna get the granite a little bit dusted,
Just a dust.
because that's where you're gonna put your noodles.
Yep. I cut them to be about half a centimeter thick.
So that's how
You
thick
can-
you cut them.
And I just cut them. They're not all perfectly the same size.
And now one other thing you said was that you let them dry a bit
You can, yeah.
so that they don't stick together when you cook them.
Yep.
So these ones will start drying.
Pretty much right away.
Okay, so we've got the 2 times left. Now you're gonna use the scraps.
Yep. While the camera was off, while we were doing the second half of it, I put the water on the boil.
Oh yes.
3 liters of water is what I use in a pot, with a splash of olive oil to keep them from permanently gluing themselves together into a noodle knot. And then once you put them in, like once the water's boiling, you drop them in. It's literally 2 to 3 minutes.
So guys, that's all there is to it. We boiled it for a few minutes, drained it off, and then we added some marinara sauce, and now we're ready to eat our pasta. Everybody else can have their rice pasta, and we're gonna enjoy. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. And if you have, you're awesome. Thank you so much for supporting our channel. And I just wanted to let you know that we make 2 new videos every week on homesteading, homeschooling, and gluten-free living. See you in the next video. Bye.